Fishing for native black bass can sometimes take you to places you think you'd never go. Like only a crazy human being would think that it's a good idea to cut through all that mountain laurel and overhanging branches and who knows what else to go try to access another spot to catch a fish under these high water conditions. But I never said I wasn't crazy. Probably not the best place to fish for NBA players or football players, but for people of modest stature like myself. Not only does it make canoe fishing a lot easier, it can make this kind of fishing a lot easier. Oh joy! A tree has blown down in my path. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to access it here now and come out that way. This is normal. Whew. And I've come out that way so many times too. But it's alright. We'll make it happen. The reason I had to do this is from where I was down there to here, there's a deep hole that one wrong step and you'd be swimming. And I'm still hoping that's not the hole right in front of me. So I can't remember exactly where it was. I reckon I'm about to find out. Getting a little deeper. Yeah, it's pretty deep right there. I'll get a little closer to the bank. We're probably going to be good. All this for a couple shoal bass, right? Now the good news is I don't have to come back this way. I know another way out, assuming there's no more trees down across my path. So this is a shallower shelf right here. You can wade, probably even at this water level, wade all the way across here and not get over your waist, assuming you don't get swept downstream to swift destruction. If you got that deep in this water flow. The next ledge, the water on the other side of the next ledge is quite a bit deeper, and you definitely don't want to be attempting that. But you can walk across on the ledge itself. And again, how do I know this? Because I've done this before at much lower water levels, and I know what I can and can't do. So previous knowledge is so important when you're fishing something that you're wading where you can't quite see the bottom. Because really, this might not be true all over the country, but down here, these shoals have real mosaics of shallow and deep. I mean, you can literally be standing on something and you're not even hardly above your ankles, and the next step can be 4 or 5 feet of water, and then the next step after that be back up above your knees or below your knees. So you have to know where those places are, or in a situation like this, they can get you in trouble in a real hurry. Yep, there's another one. Another male, probably defending a nest. I caught him literally right about where the tip of my rod is, right there where the water's about to haul butt, right above that ledge. These fish are really, really something. You have to totally throw out everything you think you know about black bass when you start fishing for them, and think more about trout or salmon, because that's where they really are. There's nothing there that makes you think this is going to be bass, but that's where they are. Also, and I'm going to put this guy back. Also, when you're in a spawning shoal and the fish are actually starting to spawn, it becomes a game of inches. You don't make big long casts usually. You're doing a lot of underhand pitches 10, 15 feet in front of you, At least if you want to maximize the number of fish you're catching, that's what you should do. If all you're doing is looking for big ones, then by all means, put on a big old lure and make long casts and hope you run into some of the bigger males and females that are in this shoal. Me, I'm a numbers guy. I like to catch fish. I'm not one to cast for an hour to catch one 5-pound bass. If I can catch 20 smaller bass, and probably still catch the 5-pound bass, quite frankly. So anyway, these are a different animal than most black bass you're ever going to fish for. Another nice one. Seems like this is the size that everything seems to be right now. You know, about 1.5, 2 pounds. This is another female hanging out. Last week I caught in this little area right here, especially along those chutes, I caught 5 or 6 fish in the 2.5, 3.5 pound range. So far I haven't even seen a fish that big today. If you want to see, this only works in the spring, but if you want to see how to really identify a female, this time of year, pretty much for most black bass species, the females will have that, the urogenital pore right there, the bottom hole there is where the eggs come out, and it's usually inflamed, reddish, protrudes a little bit. You look at it from the side, and the males are going to be just same color as what that top pore is right there in this girl right here. So for a brief period of time during the spawning season, you can actually be pretty sure of what kind of sex you have of this bass. What a beautiful fish though. Look at that. These fish are so darn pretty. They're really special. And if you haven't caught any of these yet, you really need to come on down to the Chattahoochee Flint rivers in Georgia and Alabama and give them a shot. They're really something special. Well, there are a couple big ones still in here. This is a beauty. This is a beauty. Probably about 4.5 pounds, I would guess. Look at this. Look at the gut on this girl. She obviously hasn't dropped her eggs yet. You're getting every ounce of weight out of a fish this length for sure. Normally, I think this fish would barely be 4, but it's a heck of a lot heavier than that. I can promise you. This fish came from that water right in front of that ledge. Hard to believe, but that's where this fish was hanging out. And I've seen that before, where some of the biggest fish that you catch, whether you're electrofishing or fishing with a rod and reel, come from the sketchiest places. The water with the deepest water with the fastest flow is where you see fish like this. What a beautiful fish. Man, this has been a great day, despite the fact that the water clarity has been, you know, pretty darn low, limiting what we can and can't do out here. And all these fish have been caught on a plastic worm. You would think a spinnerbait is what you would throw or something like that in this water. But yeah, I'm going to go put this girl back, and it's getting dark, getting closer to dark. I'm going to have to find my way out of here soon. What a beautiful fish. Just like red-eye bass, when you put these fish underwater, their colors really glow. This is just a wonderful example of the tiger striping that you see on this fish, on these fish. And yep, time for this one to go back and spawn those eggs at some point. Yes. Nice. Something you get to see a lot of along these native black bass streams, shoal bass in this case, of course, are these wild azaleas. They are just some of the coolest flowers. Unlike the kind that you get at Lowe's and plant in your yard, these guys have these really long stamens that jut out from the flower. They love water, apparently, because you see them along the water, along streams all the time, and they're just part of the neat thing that you have when you're fishing for these native black bass. You know, it's such an experience, and it's a lot of things. It's the surroundings, it's the scenery, it's the rushing water, it's the challenge of wading through the streams, it's the challenge of catching fish and fighting them against the current, figuring out what they'll bite. And sometimes it's this, looking at absolutely gorgeous native flowers growing along the shoreline. A lot of the vegetation along this bank here is also mountain laurel, which in a few weeks will bloom and add even more beauty. By then these guys will pretty much be done. But I mean, it's just so many cool things about fishing for native black bass. And as the sun goes down, it gets even harder to see what you're doing. You kind of just have to feel your way, especially looking for that dip. And here's a tip I can tell you that I have found, and I'm sure it's because of the hydraulic that occurs over these ledges at high water. The closer you get to a ledge, the closer you get to like ankle deep water or even dry, the deeper it gets. And the worst step or the deepest step is always the one right before you get out. So be on the lookout for that. And I just cannot overemphasize the importance of good felt sole wading boots when you're doing this kind of thing. They will save you from a lot of falls and keep you safe. If you don't have these things, you're out here slipping on, basically you're out here walking on greased bowling balls, and you're certainly going to fall in. And you know, the older you get, the less you bounce. A lot of you are probably young and think you can just, falling and it's no big deal, it's just ha-ha. And it can be, certainly. Or you could break your leg and be out here for a week before someone finds you. So I strongly suggest getting a good pair of felt bottom wading boots. I prefer Sims, generally the Guide series, if they even still make them. I use them for work and for pleasure, and they are they last the longest of any felt bottom boot I've ever used. Generally, probably get about 6-7 good years out of them. I think you can resole them. I haven't done that before, but I very well might with these, because that sole is starting to get pretty thin. But here we are, almost up to where I can cut through and not have to go back through all that again downstream. Alright, here we are on my escape route. Did not have to go back down through the down trees and all. And it's right here. All I gotta do is go up that, carrying my fishing rod and using felt bottom boots, which, while they're awesome on shoals, ain't so good in that. But you know, I just said I had an option. I didn't say it was a smart option. I didn't say it was a sane option. And I did not say that it wasn't a crazy option. But I've done this before, and I'll do it again. This is fishing for native black bass in the non-wadable rivers and streams. Not for the faint of heart. Let's see if I can do this without killing myself, breaking my rod, or destroying my camera. No guarantees on any of that, by the way. Yep. Nothing like going 2 steps up and 3 steps back as your felt bottom boots slide on the leads. There is a path up there once I get to it, and all will be well. I have a feeling I did this further over before, but we'll make this work. Now I've been Yeah. Okay. Almost there. Oh, there's a path. There's the path. Note I didn't say it was a wide path, or a good path, or a well-maintained path. But it is a path. I'm going to take that down. I'm going to put the camera away before I break it. Takes a special kind of crazy person to climb up that hill with a fishing rod and a camera in one hand and felt bottom shoes on your feet. And so the last thing I always do on these trips before I leave is to try a little topwater action. Sometimes that has been an amazing thing to see. Giant shoal bass coming up and crushing it. When it comes to topwaters and swim baits, more is more. You don't want to, it's a go big or go home situation. These fish, you're not going to scare them. There's very little that scares a shoal bass. So the more commotion you make, the more attention you will get. Especially when you're in the middle of a raging shoal like this. So this might catch something, might catch a bunch of somethings, or it might catch nothing, because I really haven't been out here doing this in a while, so I'm not sure what the situation is. But boy, there have been times where I've had a memorable 10 minutes sitting on this rock, standing on this rock, casting the topwater out there. So we'll see what happens. I wish I had a way to record that, but I stupidly left my Gorilla Pod at home, so I have no way of setting up the camera to where you might be able to see a strike, but someday we'll do it. Oh yeah. Yeah, they'll still bite the topwater near dark. It's just crazy throwing something like that. This is actually a second fish. The first one got off right when he got to me, which is perfectly fine with me, because I just seen them all shake off and me not have to try to unhook them with no net or canoe or anything else but my two hands. But yeah, the old whopper plopper comes through. 2 fish in 5 minutes. Let's see if I can get one more, assuming that I can get this guy off and he doesn't hook me, bite me, hurt me, or whatever else. Yeah, man. It's amazing to see them come up right in the middle of those chutes. And it's like, where are they on? I mean, water is ripping past there, and that's where they come up and eat it. And they're definitely on rocks, and they just come out and pound them. Reminds me a lot of topwater grouper fishing in Baja, California, which is the only place you can probably do something like that, but it's the same kind of thing where they just come out of nowhere and crush them. There's another nice topwater fish, a little bigger than the other one. Yeah, man, the shoal bass are suckers for topwaters. That's another thing that you gotta love about them. They do not back down, and the bigger the better. And it's just amazing, again, all of those strikes, caught 3 so far now, and had another one that just missed it, are right in the middle of that big plume of current that you can see. Let me put this guy back. See, buddy. All those strikes have come from that big plume of current right there, going across the pool. They're not on either side of it, they're right in it. It's really amazing. They are such a unique bass in how they set up on things. What in the world they're doing there? I mean, this is spawning season, so I mean, obviously they're sitting up there feeding, but I've also seen fish in this creek spawn right there along that. There's a row of rocks there, and they spawn in the nest, in the cavities between those rocks with the current washing right over them. Not exactly where you expect black bass to be spawning. Certainly smallmouth don't do that, and neither do any other black bass that we know of. It's another great day fishing for a shoal bass. One of my favorite fish to fish for. It seems like every fish is my favorite fish to fish for, just as long as that's what I'm fishing for at the time. But shoal bass do hold a special part in my heart. I certainly didn't grow up fishing for them. I was a latecomer. I lived in Auburn for almost 10 years before I really got going on them. And I certainly never guessed that I would ever do research on them to the extent that I did, to the point where, I have conducted most of the research that's ever been done on this fish. And just by purest luck. But at any rate, great day. I hope you enjoyed tagging along with me in my crazy adventures, and look forward to sharing more down the road on this and other species of black bass. Have a nice day.